Today is April 18th, 2025. This is my favorite time of year, a time when the mountains turn into rolling hills of yellow and purple wildflowers, when I can drink straight from the rivers, their water is full from the melting glaciers, when the winds rage through this valley, shaking off the silence of winter and waking the earth back up. Lately, I have been getting up early on these cold spring mornings, sometimes around 4 a.m. before the world wakes up. I'll climb up the mountain and watch the sunrise over the valley, and standing there, surrounded by wildflowers, I'm in awe, honestly. I just can't believe that I get to live through another spring here. So the other day, I was cleaning out my sewing cabinet, and I noticed that I had an abundance of white linen left over from old projects, and it gave me an idea. Maybe this spring I can find a plant around here that I could use to dye some of the extra white linen that I have. So I did some research, and I ended up coming across this woman's blog who talked about this bright blue turquoise color she got from lupine flowers. So I grabbed my basket and I headed up into the mountains. The lupines are currently blossoming high up in these mountains, so I had to hike pretty far to find the amount I needed. You need a lot of plant material to dye fabric, and it took me all night to fill up my basket to the top. It was such a beautiful night. I watched the sunset over the valley as I picked the lupine flowers, and the hills here in the spring are just so magical. Oh my gosh. So in the blog, she talked about how the stems will give you more of a green color and the blossoms will make the fabric more blue. So when I got home, I removed all the stems and only placed the blossoms in the pot because I'd like to try to get more of a blue color out of my dye pot. And then I just filled the pot all the way to the top with fresh water, trying to shove as many flowers into the pot as possible. And now it's time to prepare my fabric. I decided to copy the pattern of an old apron I have. So to do this, I just measured the dimensions of the different pieces of the apron and wrote them down in my journal. So my plan is to cut all of the pieces for the apron dress and then dye those pieces before sewing it into the final garment. Throughout the day, I was stirring and gently simmering my dye pot. With things like delicate flowers, you don't want to boil them because that can actually destroy the pigment in the flowers. After letting that sit for around 24 hours, I then removed most of the flowers from the pot in order to make space for my fabric. Some people will simmer their fabric with the actual plant material all together in one pot. You can of course do it this way. I've done both methods. For this, I think creating the dye first and then adding in the fabric afterwards was easier. And I'm realizing now that I think doing it this way created a deeper, more vibrant dye bath. I heated the dye and the fabric back up very gently. This is where I went wrong. I accidentally heated it too hot, I think, and the blue pigment from the flowers turned green. Throughout the day, as the fabric sat in the pot, it ended up becoming a very rich color of green. So last night, after taking the fabric out of the dye pot, I hung it up to dry overnight. And I'm just not really sure if I like the color of this. It's a little bit bright, I feel like. So I have an idea. This morning, I'm going to use one of my rusty cast iron pots, and I'm gonna fill it with hot water and some vinegar, and then let that solution sit for around 10 minutes. And then I'm gonna dip this fiber into my rusty pot, and hopefully that will darken the color a little bit and kind of mute it. I just feel like right now it's a little bit like seafoam green, and I'm just not sure if I really like this. I'm a little nervous I'm gonna ruin it with the iron, so I'm gonna do like a test piece first, put it in for a couple of seconds, just see what happens. So I ended up soaking the fabric in the iron pot for just a couple of minutes, and that's all it took for the color to start to shift in the fabric. The iron definitely helped to mute the color a little bit. It kind of darkened it and it turned it more blue, which I really like. So today I am going to lay out all my pieces and sew it into the final garment. This has been actually quite a long process. I didn't show this, but you also have to prepare your fabric before you dye with it. To do this, I soaked the linen in aluminum acetate for about 24 hours, and then after that, put that into a bath with washing soda. That helped set the aluminum into the fibers, and this helps to make your plant dye permanent. Without preparing your fabric, the plant dye will just wash out of it. Previously, when I've done plant dyeing, I feel like it comes out and it looks a little blotchy, kind of rustic, which can be a cool look, but I'm really happy that this fabric was evenly dyed. It absorbed evenly. I think it's because I really took the time to prepare the fabric before I dyed with it. I haven't really necessarily done that in the past, and I think that really helped this time around to make the fabric absorb the dye really evenly and look very professional. Okay, so this is how the apron turned out. I did a pretty simple design with just like a little top and then a gathered skirt, and then it just kind of ties at the back here. And I'm honestly so excited about color. I cannot believe that this came from lupine flowers. Like, I picked these flowers and I dyed this fabric, and this is how it turned out. What do you guys think? I think I love it, honestly. One of the most important parts of editing my videos is the music. That is why I'm really excited to be partnering with Musicbed, the sponsor of today's video. I've been using Musicbed for many years now, and I just love their authentic selection of cinematic, emotion-packed music. In my opinion, music changes everything. When it comes to creating meaningful stories, it's one of the most powerful tools I have. I added a Musicbed song to this footage, and look how much emotion it adds to the video. By choosing Musicbed, you're choosing music that connects with your audience on a deeper level and helps your work truly stand out. Make the switch to Musicbed and start creating content that really connects. You can use the link in the description to sign up for your 14-day free trial today. So for the past couple of weeks, I have been slowly working on trying to bring this garden back to life. Last year, I didn't plant anything. I took the summer off, so this garden has been abandoned for over a year now, and it definitely shows. There's weeds everywhere. I honestly don't even know where to begin. Earlier this week, we went and got some compost and Then I weeded all of the boxes and laid some of the compost down. This garden is honestly such a mess, but I'm gonna get some seeds in the ground. I got these boxes ready to plant. Today I'm gonna plant some Detroit red beets. I think I might do an entire box of beets. It sounds kind of nice, honestly. I love beets. I think beets are incredible. Plus, you can dye with red beets and you can dye with yellow beets. I only got the red beet seeds. During this time of year, the river is rushing so fast that when I take these swims, I'm like genuinely kind of scared I'm gonna get swept away. It is so cold. Oh my god. So I buy my flour in large 50-pound bags, and last week I ran out. I'm not getting a new shipment for another week, so I've been stuck using only wheat berries and milling my own flour, which is fine, but milled flour can be very dense. To make it lighter and closer to all-purpose flour, I run it through my mill twice. The first time on a very coarse setting, then again on a finer grind. And then I sift out all of the germ and bran, which helps to lighten it up. I needed a really light flour because tonight I'm making a pie crust with it, and I wanted it to be super fine. This is the first time I have made a crust with 100% home milled flour. The only difference I noticed was that the dough was a little crumbly and kind of hard to roll out. It could have been because I didn't add enough water, but I will say this pie, this crust, ended up being the best pie crust I've ever had in my life. If you do it right, milling your own flour can create much more flavorful dough. I feel like some of that flour at the store has just been sitting there for so long. Honestly, some of the best breads and desserts I've ever made have come from milling my own flour. When I start my bakery, I want to use only home milled flour in everything I make. It just tastes better and it's much healthier. Plus, if you use ancient grains like einkorn and spelt, it can be much easier to digest if you're sensitive to gluten, which is really cool. So my family came over on this night and we all sat around and ate pie. Oh, and also I made some homemade ice cream, which I've been doing a lot lately, and it was just a really beautiful evening. I ate way too much pie and too much ice cream as well. Anyways, you guys, thank you all so much for watching this video, and I will see you all next week. Okay, bye-bye. On my way home.